Ladies and gentlemen, 3 days ago, right here on this show, Urban Debate, we had spoken about how the Narcotics Control Bureau's Mumbai wing had gone completely rogue under its director, Sameer Wankhede. How Wankhede and his private army had become extortionists. They were the mafia that would zero in on India's biggest stars and trap them into paying money. They did it to India's biggest superstar, Shahrukh Khan. His son, Aryan Khan, spent 26 days in jail for a crime he didn't commit. But ladies and gentlemen, as I often say, karma does not forget an address. The hunter today has become the hunted. The CBI is hot on the trails of the man who was an IRS officer by day and an extortionist by night. A man who used his office, his position, and his power to target and trap innocent people. Aryan Khan was just 23 years old. Not a speck of drug was found on him. He spent 26 days in jail. This could have been your son. This could have been your grandson. This could have been someone you know. Today, the CBI has summoned Sameer Wankhede for questioning. The CBI's charge sheet that we have managed to access today has some stunning details of the diabolical plot to target Shahrukh Khan via his son. Take a look at what the FIR says. The FIR alleges that Wankhede hatched a conspiracy to extort 25 crore rupees from Aryan Khan's family. Not only this, the FIR adds that Wankhede and his team let the real suspects in the case go, but arrested Aryan Khan because they smelt an opportunity to extort money from India's biggest stars. The CBI FIR also says that Wankhede has disproportionate assets, that he has not been able to explain how he funded his 5-star foreign holidays. The CBI also wants to know how Wankhede, a government servant, could afford expensive watches. Now, Sameer Wankhede, as expected, is not saying much. Our reporter Indranil got hold of him on the phone. This is the conversation they had.
Hello? Arunil calling from Times Now, Mr. Wankhede. Hello?
Yes, Arunil, tell me.
A case, CBI registering a case against you. How do you look at it?
I'm sorry, I'm with my family members. I'll talk to you later.
Let me go straight across to my colleague Arunil, who is joining us live on the broadcast. Arunil, you tried to speak to Mr. Wankhede. Mr. Wankhede said, sorry, he doesn't want to say anything because he's with his family right now. But the details that are available to us via the CBI FIR are explosive. This man and his gang, his private army, should I call it, are essentially criminals. They are the mafia. That is how they behaved. They used to go to the NCB office to work, but actually they were behaving like the mafia, robbing people in broad daylight. Just give us the highlights of the FIR according to you.
The only channel to confront Sameer Wankhede, the same NCB officer who used to call up media people, who used to call up journalists to give out information related to any kind of detention, arrest or raid that he used to particularly do against Bollywood people. A series of raids, series of detentions or arrests, Sameer Wankhede and his gang of people that you've been saying were done during that period when Aryan Khan was also arrested. That includes the comedian Bharti, that includes Arman Kohli, another actor, that also includes the action that NCB had taken against Arjun Rampal and his family members as well. Now, on the expected lines, Sameer Wankhede is evading the tough questions. He's ducking the tough questions. But clearly trouble mounts for the former NCB Zonal Director. The reason for that is that the CBI wants to know that how come Sameer Wankhede used to go on such lavish foreign trips, who used to fund for his expensive watches, and more importantly, when the raid was conducted on the Cordelia cruise, there were many accused who were being detained by the NCP. On what basis these suspects were let go and why only some of them were targeted? In fact, Prabhakar Sale, one of the accused, unfortunately he is no more now, one of the witnesses, beg your pardon, he had spoken to Times Network and he had revealed some baffling details, saying that this was an extortion racket that was being allegedly run by Sameer Wankhede. Why was KP Gosavi a criminal by record? He is at present in the custody of Pune police. Why was he used as a NCP witness? Why was he dragging Aryan Khan? Who gave him the authority to click selfies with Aryan Khan? Again, if rupees 25 crore were being allegedly asked by Sameer Wankhede and his team from the manager of Shahrukh Khan, this is what Prabhakar Sale had revealed. Then he said that the matter was set off for rupees 18 crore. Rupees 50 lakh was allegedly paid as an advance amount. All these baffling questions really come to the fore, and many such details were shared by Prabhakar Sale. He was the bodyguard of KP Gosavi. He said that they were made to sign on a blank paper. There was nothing in it when the signatures were being taken. Many discrepancies during the entire investigation were highlighted. There was another person, his name is nowhere to be seen now, but that was Manish Bhanushali. He was a BJP worker. All KP Gosavi and Manish Bhanushali were together in Ahmedabad. On the day of the raid, they came from Ahmedabad together in one car. On what basis was this a pre-planned conspiracy only to target Shahrukh Khan's son so that money can be taken from him? These questions come to the fore. And what about the other people who have been detained or arrested from Bollywood only? Was it done to set off money? Was it done to do extortion or to gain fame? All these questions the CBI will be asking Mr. Sameer Wankhede.
Right, Mr. Sameer Wankhede, who behaved like an extortionist, who behaved like the mafia in Mumbai, targeting high-profile people who live in this city, and just by the way, all of them, we can call them celebrities, we can call them superstars, but they are all hardworking people. And this man was trying to rob their hard-earned money. Again, as I keep saying, it happened to Aryan Khan. It happened to Deepika Padukone. It happened to Shraddha Kapoor. It happened to Sara Ali Khan. It happened to Ananya Pandey. It could have happened to anyone. We all need to remember that as we process this story. And as we process this story, joining me this evening, our guest, Clyde Crasto, is a spokesperson of the NCP, someone who consistently had been, even when the case was playing out, said that this guy is not straight, that this is deliberate targeting. Kunika Lal is an actor, she's an advocate as well. Mr. BV Kumar is a former NCB chief, and Yashwardhan Azad is a former IPS officer. I thank all of you for joining us this evening. Mr. BV Kumar, I think it is fitting that I start with you. As a former chief of the NCB, any comments on, on details that are now coming to us? On Friday, we had got a lot of details, but today we have the entire FIR. And the FIR is telling us, Mr. BV Kumar, that the real culprits in the case were let go. And a boy who didn't have a speck of drug on him was deliberately netted so that money could be taken from his father. So this was a conspiracy.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I heard very carefully Arunil's description and extract from the FIR, which clearly shows that there was a conspiracy of not only Sameer Wankhede and its 4 or 5 departmental officers from the NCB, and also some private persons, including Gosavi and another person who is no longer there, who gave a very detailed exposition of the evidence that was involved in this case. And here, a person who is in the rank of a zonal director, instead of safeguarding the investigation, if at all there's any violation of the law, he himself became a participant in the extortion racket. He is very, very unfortunate, to say the least. I never expected an officer of the rank of a zonal director, and that too in an organization like the NCB, to conspire and, along with others, to extort money from persons, whosoever they may be film stars, they may be businessmen, or they may be honest citizens. But this is not the way an organization conducts, and that to an apex organization like the Narcotics Control Bureau, which is supposed to deal with international criminal syndicates. This is very unfortunate, and probably I'm very sure
it's not just
shortly
unfortunate, it's also,
yeah.
Mr. BV
Yeah.
Kumar, it's not just unfortunate. It's not just unfortunate. It's more than just unfortunate. You know, next time, for example, and it's not like the NCB doesn't do good work, right? In their operations, Samudra Gupta is currently underway, where they have seized, along with the Indian Navy, some 4,000 kgs of narcotics from India's waters. So
No,
it's not like the NCB doesn't do good work. But what has... Correct, 2,500 kgs. So what has ended up happening with the CBI filing a charge sheet against Samir Wankhede is that next time the NCB raids an individual, there will be an eye roll and people will say, this has been done for extortion.
Yeah.
It's the, it's the problem with agencies overreach. It's the reason, just a minute, sir. It's the reason why we don't believe in what the ED does anymore and why we don't believe in what the IT department does anymore. That there are people who are compromising the integrity of agencies for personal use and political purposes as well. Before you come in, can I just get in Clyde Crasto? Clyde Crasto, fact is that Samir Wankhede was always a controversial character. Not just because he started parading a string of stars outside the NCB office, not just because he arrested Aryan Khan, but you know, it was almost like, and a part of the press was guilty of it as well, he portrayed himself as this big anti-drug crusader, and almost everyone fell for it. That here is a guy, an honest officer of the NCB, standing up to the might and power and money of Bollywood. But now, the hunter has become the hunted. And how?
Shreya, there are a couple of things I'd like to tell you. First and foremost, the NCB was doing a fantastic job, and it still is doing a fantastic job till this zonal director.
Clyde, I think we may have lost your audio. We'll just try and fix that. Kunika, would you want to come in here and take that question?
Yes, I want to say, first of all, you're right. Karma doesn't forget an address and karma comes back to bite you. I really am curious about one thing, first of all. What this news channels, which were making him out to be a hero, having vox pops with the viewers, saying, he's being targeted because he's a poor man doing his job and, there's this big celebrities, all these channels which are talking so loudly and screaming and making him out to be a hero. And I've been saying it from the beginning, that how can a person go for a raid with the press already informed? That, there's going to be a catch over there. They're going to discover something. The press was there. And I've been saying this in the beginning, when this investigation was going on, when this whole thing was going on, that there's something not right about this. And then, of course, a few days later, we got to know that there was the extortion thing. And so you're absolutely right, Shreya, the ED, the NCB, these are agencies of the government which need to really have their reputation intact and not. This is going to have a question on people that agli baar jab bhi kuch hoga, bichara koi acha officer bhi kaam kar raha hoga, and if he's doing it genuinely, this is the question is going to be arisen. And he was targeting, it was almost like he was trying to make himself this big hero, this anti-drug, messiah who's come to, clean up the system. But look at the rubbish that's come out, that's been unearthed. So it's sad for those officers who really work hard, because it's a tough job that they have, and because now their credibility is going to be on the line. But look at all the stress, the trauma, the turmoil that people went through when all this was happening, and Aryan Khan, of course, his family, and all the celebrities. And look at the media that was, pushing him. They should not be speaking like that before investigations are over. They were projecting him as a hero. So there's so many outfalls out of this whole thing, and so many bad byproducts of this whole thing.
May I come in?
I still remember.
May I come in for a short
Just
point?
a minute, sir. I still remember. I'll let Clyde come in. Sir, give me a second, sir. I still remember the discourse at that point of time. So here's this boy from a simple family who has studied hard, worked hard,
Yeah.
become an IRS officer, and is standing to high and mighty Bollywood, which is filled with druggies. And it didn't stop there. It didn't stop there. The NCP's charge actually was that Aryan Khan, Ananya Pandey, Deepika Padukone, Shraddha Kapoor, Sara Ali Khan, all of them weren't
drugged
just
up, all the-
actors. They were part of drug cartels as well. They were part of drug cartels as well, that they were buying and selling drugs. And that discourse convinced this country कि बॉलीवुड में सिर्फ चर्सी लोग ही काम करते हैं. That is what this man single-handedly managed to do, Clyde. And look at how diabolical his plans were. Look at how diabolical his plan, not just his plans, but the plans of his entire private army were as well. Now the CBI is saying he's not being able to establish his disproportionate assets. How was he taking these 5-star and 7-star holidays to Mauritius and Maldives with his government salary? Clearly,
Absolutely.
Shahrukh Khan wasn't the only person he was trying to extort. That he had extorted other people before he landed up with this gig as far as Aryan Khan and Shahrukh Khan are concerned.
Shreya, if you go back and read certain reports about this zonal officer, when he was at the airport, where he was with the customs at the airport, even then, there were reports about him trying to extort money from certain celebrities, landing at the airport. So the fact of the matter is that this is one man who suddenly becomes the zonal director of Mumbai NCB, and then you suddenly start looking at things from a different perspective. And there is something the NCB, like Kumar sir just said, the role is to look into international drug mafia, look at bigger picture. But here was an officer who was looking into a few milligrams or grams of drugs that were being sold there and there, which is the job of the local police. So he was taking over, but he was not just looking at certain cases. He was looking at high-profile cases, and the high profile comes from Bollywood. And that's when this was parade. Now, you mentioned about his visits to the international visits cannot be corroborated. Mr. Nawab Malik, even then, mentioned how he was flying to the Maldives. And there were reports coming out from a certain section of the media that he was possibly going to Maldives to have some backdoor talks with these certain celebrities to settle certain things. So a lot of stories started coming up, and that's when a lot of people. I mean, let me tell you something very clearly. While we were raking up this issue and bringing it to light, we were not politicizing it. But the BJP, the politicians went and said, there is one officer who's a crusader, who's like, a Deshbhakt. He was coming and trying to clean up the system. And here is NCB, who's trying to stop them. The NCB does not want this. Are they connected to something? And look what has happened now. We stand vindicated. We were speaking the truth right from day one. And there are call records of KP Gosavi, Manish Bhanusali, all talking that, he's going to come here, we are going to bring him there. These call records are in the public domain. And like you said earlier, like Arunil said that a man, when he wanted to go and raid somewhere small, he would call the press and everybody was allowed to get in. Today he's not talking. We had friends in the press tell us that, he's calling and saying that, NCP ko dekh lenge. We're going to, he's saying, I'm going to do a raid and let's see what they can do. My point is very clear. The CBI has done a fantastic job of, exposing this thing. NCB is doing a great job. It's just that one person comes into the system and creates a bad name, casting aspersion on the whole system. I think it's now time for this CBI.
It's not just one person. No, Clyde, it's not just one person. Every organization has checks and balances. I work for Mirror now, but I can't get away doing exactly what I want to do, which is illegal, which is wrong. I have checks and balances, right, in this place. Similarly, politicians have checks and balances. Lawyers have checks and balances. There are checks. There should have been checks and balances as far as the NCB goes as well. Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, would you want to come in here? Where were the checks and balances? For 3 months, 4 months, this tamasha goes on. You put an innocent boy behind bars. You parade a string of stars to the NCB office, make all sorts of charges. Charsi hain, drug lete hain, drugs lete hi nahi hai, drugs ko sell bhi karte hain. Bade international cartels ke saath inka rishta hai. I mean, what sort of ridiculous stuff got said then? Now, if all of this was going on under the nose of the headquarters in Delhi, what was the Delhi headquarters doing? It played out, as I said, not for 1 day or 2 days. It played out for 4 days. Where were the checks and balances? Why did someone not stop this man in his tracks?
Thanks, Shreya, for letting me speak now. It has been quite a while. I've listened to all of you, and I've seen you really charged today as an anchor and on a right issue. Let me say two things at the very outset. One is, of course, this is the shoddiest chapter in the history of NCB. And as I mentioned on Friday in our last discussion, it was incumbent upon the NCB headquarters to take action immediately where the investigation was botched. And it was clear that the investigation getting botched. Number two, I'm saying even preempting that, whenever you post somebody as a joint director, head of Bombay, you verify, you see the profile. And if I was there as the DG NCB, and I'm sure if Mr. Kumar was there as DG NCB, he would have never posted a guy like Samir Wankhede. My second point, even the media and the channels made him a hero. Shreya, there are rules that, in an organization like CBI or police or even NCB, nobody can just go to the press and start, giving statements and whatever it feels like. There is a particular rhyme, there is a particular authorization, and you have to speak on a particular issue and only that much. But in an investigation, you're not supposed to bear almost everything and try to be what we call in Hindi, badbola. And that is exactly what this fellow was doing. So one, he botched the investigation. Second, there is already a disproportionate case against him. Third, there is already an extortion racket which he was running. And fourth is the criminal conspiracy which he had engaged himself. I totally agree with you that the NCB headquarters did come in, but it came in late. And now, of course, it's the CBI which is involved in this. But one thing is there, this has created such a filthy precedent that you're right, anybody coming in will be questioned. Any big person being brought to the NCB headquarters, there'll be questions raised all over the place. I just hope this matter is closed once for all after CBI does a watertight case and fixes this gentleman.
Our agencies really,
Sure.
I don't know.
Very short point.
There's a credibility. I know, Mr. BV Kumar, you want to make that point, and I'll let you make it now.
Point I wanted.
But our agencies need to realize that there is a credibility crisis as far as they are concerned, and it's not just the NCB, it's the CBI and ED as well. So if they have
exactly
to restore their credibility,
no, in any major case,
go ahead, sir.
In any major case, before any investigation started, we record the information and then we verify the information. And in some cases, we have taken almost 6 months to do research about the background of the person involved in the case. And after completely satisfying ourselves, then only we conducted the raids, then only we made the arrests and then carried further investigation, which was encompassing a number of jurisdictions. That's how any agency should do. Either in the DRI we did that, in the NCB we did that. I'm sure in the Enforcement Directorate also that what should be done. I'm sure this basic procedure which is contemplated for all investigating agencies, this is probably in this case as was given a go by. This is the saddest part of the whole thing. I can't understand how, assuming that Cordelia Cruz, assuming there was a drug rave party or something like that, they should have recorded the information, properly organized the searches and other things, and they did a short research, just pulled out 4 or 5 persons so that they can extort money and things like that. That's not the way an investigation is done. Investigation starts with an information report. The basic information is recorded. If it's from an informer, it's kept in a sealed cover. Then a proper procedure is followed of checking up on the information, doing further research to identify all the places, identify all the persons involved and other things. Then only the raids are conducted.
Mr. Kumar, procedure is followed by straight people.
Even by the ED.
You know, Mr. BV Kumar, procedure is followed by straight people, honest people. Yes, they will lose their job if they don't listen to their political masters, but they do the right thing by their worthy, they do the right thing by their country. And when I say our agencies are compromised, every time the ED and the CBI conduct a raid or arrest a opposition politician, We just do an eye roll. Because even if they are being arrested for the right reasons, we will assume, given their past history, that it is being done to target them deliberately. Clyde, you want to come in? Please go ahead.
There are two things I'd like to highlight here. While this whole thing was going about, there were also news reports about how when this army that he had formed, okay, would pre-sign panchnamas and the signatures were done and there were blank papers. So they would sign. So anytime somebody wanted to make a panchnama, all that had to be done was to write the matter and the signatures were already there. How can you do that? How can it be a pre-signed copy which is kept in the offices there, and when you can just fill up whatever content you want to? Secondly, the question that was raised at that time also, that for some reason, like whatever has happened on that day when the Cordelia ship was raided, what happened there was these two people were brought to the NCB office, okay, and it was said that there was a rape party going on that ship there. Then why did that officer let that ship sail to Goa? The ship was headed from Bombay to Goa. Okay, if there was a rape party there and if there were reported drugs being used there on the ship there, why was the ship not stopped there? So it just goes to prove that this whole thing was a setup. They knew what was going on. They were going to target only a particular person there, and they let the ship go. And then when questions are raised, they said that when the ship comes back from Goa, we're going to go back and investigate. You think these things will not be cleaned up on the way to Goa and back? So when you look back in retrospection, or in retrospect, all this looks like a setup. This zonal officer probably had a whole script written down to target Aryan Khan, and this boy had been targeted. A witch hunt was on, and now we know why the witch hunt was on, because of this whole extortion bit that was going on. So I think now the CBI, like Yasho sir said, it has to be a tight, open and shut case where whatever is being investigated has to come to a conclusion, so that it sets a precedent. It sets an example for all future officers of the NCB, and also it sets an example that no other child or anybody's child should be made to go all through all this that has happened with Aryan Khan.
I also, Kunika, I'll give you the last word, but I also want to just tell our viewers that when the Sushant Singh Rajput case happened, when the Aryan Khan case happened, television studios and anchors became judge, jury and executioner. Now look at where those cases have gone. Riya Chakravarti is out free. There is nothing against her. There is nothing against her brother. Aryan Khan, he's been let off by the court. And the court says there has been zero evidence against Aryan Khan. Not a speck of drug was found on him. What happened to the Deepika Padukone chats? Nothing. What has come of this questionings? Nothing. Has anything come of the questioning of the other actresses? Sara Ali Khan, Shraddha Kapoor, Rakul Preet Singh? Nothing. So next time, when a studio and its anchor try to play judge, jury and executioner, dear viewers, for heaven's sake, ask the right questions of them.
Absolutely.
And do remember that if this can happen to a celebrity, it can happen to you as well. So please hold your press accountable as well, not just the agencies. Kunika, I'll give you the last word.
So thank you so much, Shreya, for saying this. The press is such an important part of a democracy, and unfortunately, it's failing the people. And the other thing I want to say is, in this whole jamboree, we are forgetting human rights. As Mr. BV Kumar said, that there's a proper, wholesome and holistic investigation. Uske baad you go to the press, uske baad you put out a report. Here, there were selfies being taken of an accused who was a suspect. He was not even charge sheeted. You're taking selfies with him and putting it out. What about his violation of his human rights? Also, there were some channels speaking of his religion and saying that people like this are because they don't love their country. This is what was happening. So you're very right. We need to question the press, and I want to really see where these people are going to hide their face today. All those channels, I'm sorry to say I'm using his name, Mr. Arnab Goswami was one of the biggest. He was screaming around, They did not allow him to go to visit his mother's grave. See, they're hounding him here. See, they're targeting him. What? Why? Where is the balanced approach to reporting? The press is not supposed to be judge, jury, and sitting on judgment on people without the courts taking cognizance of it. You're absolutely right. Thank you so much, Shreya, for bringing up this debate and discussing these points.
And I thank you, Kunika, for joining us. I'm thanking Clyde as well. BV Kumar, thank you very much. And Yashwardhan Azad, thank you very much for joining us. I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. There's lots more coming up on the other side. Pakistan continues to be on the boil. Bushra Bibi has been given protective bail. What does that mean? And why has she been given that interim protective bail for? That's coming up next. Do stay with us. Also, the Karnataka drama is still not over. In fact, it is intensifying. That story is coming up next. Do stay with us.